Patterson University Television.
Welcome back to the desk. It's a very special type of William Patterson men's basketball block today as we have captain and senior Michael Gilmore joining with us. Michael, we're very happy to have you. We also got Andrew Ballisteri, Anthony Walker, and Joe Monroig. You know, Mike, you've had a great career as a Pioneer here. You throw up a lot of great numbers. We're going to take a look at your stats here as your career as a Pioneer. But what are some things you've taken away from your time here at William Patterson, your time on the court?
It's been a lot of fun really playing with a bunch of different guys, a bunch of different talents. Being able to step up this year as a senior was a really big deal for me, honestly, and I'm glad to be a part of this team this year especially.
So you've been here, like, arguably the longest out of any Pioneer, probably the longest out of any Pioneer. What's that like to be able to see this team grow underneath you?
It feels really good, honestly, being under Chapman. He's done a lot of good things with us, trying to set a culture, trying to set a pace for us as a team and identity, trying to be that team that nobody really wants to play, being fast-paced, up and down, trying to get under everybody's skin.
Oh, you know, Walker mentioned, being one of the longest guys on the team. Now how does that fit into that role now? Receiving the captain position. What's the priority that you have to do now to get the team, stay together, day in and day out?
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of trust at this point. I think I've proven that I can be a guy that gets the job done on and off the court, in the classroom and as well as on the court. Being able to have coach, talk to me and have me talk to players, being that second coach on the court so that, if anything goes wrong, I have the respect of my teammates to be able to reel them in and get back to who we are as a team.
And this is a team that pretty much undersized, if you would say, and you are primarily playing forward position or center position, and you're a very good scorer inside, so what gives you the confidence to be able to go inside on those bigger defenders?
My teammates, every day in practice, they're telling me to body up, be the big man that I am, being 6'1", being a 6'1" center. I mean, it's no easy feat going up against 6'6", 6'7",
Absolutely.
But I mean, having them behind me, being able to tell me, we trust you to be able to play that big man role, we trust you to be able to grab rebounds, and we trust you to be able to finish over bigger defenders, it does a lot for your confidence as a player.
Another thing that does a lot of confidence for you guys as a whole, I have to imagine, was that big home win over NJCU just a couple of nights ago. Andrew's got some highlights of the game. You can break it down for us.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the highlights right now. It was a great win. Great win for William Patterson. As we see the three-headed monster of Adrian Lopez, Sean Summers, and Tyreek Montgomery, they were killing it all night from three and all over the court. They were just everywhere tonight. 22 points for Lopez and 20 for Summers, 14 for Montgomery. A great and one right there by Cesar Silvestro over his former teammate. And here's our guy Mike right now with a nice little bucket. And Cesar Silvestro, he had a great night. He'll end it off with an easy lay. It was a great night for Willie P the other night.
What'd you see overall, Mike, from the game that you guys executed really well to help you get that big victory? Because it was back and forth. It
was a lot of back and forth. I think at the end of it, we didn't lose who we were as a team. We tend to go on a 2 to 3 minute stretch where we let up and take our foot off the gas pedal. I don't think we did that closer to the end of this game. I think we kept our identity. I think we kept our foot on their necks, and we got the job done, and just kept our identity as a team, really.
Yeah, so ultimately, Tyreek Montgomery, Sean Summers have been really, really big additions to your team. Sean Summers with 20 points in the game against NJCU. What have you seen from them so far?
Just being able to score the basketball, really, and that intensity on defense. They came in, and it's like they didn't miss a beat. It's like they've been with us here for a while. I can really appreciate that, taking the load, taking a big load of the scoring. I know a lot of people had concerns about us losing people like Dom, people like Nick, but they've obviously stepped up and proven that although we lost two big players, they filled in those holes pretty well.
Obviously you, Summers, Montgomery, you guys are guys, really, Adrian, taking the load, really, scoring points. But how crucial is it when you have guys on the bench, come off and score points as well? Because you guys had 21 bench points in the game against NJCU, which is huge. It's always good to see guys on the bench come off and help you with the load work as well, scoring. So how does that impact the team offensively, even defensively as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big deal. We got the guys like Cesar, guys like Neff coming off the bench and giving us big points. Neff, up to I think a week ago, was our leading scorer, and he came off the bench every game this season. Cesar, he's just getting back into the swing of things, but I think if we can get him back in shape and get him back into, his old self, he'll be a huge benefit to us as a team. Defensively, Cesar is another big body, 6'4", 6'5", down there in the paint. guys are having second thoughts, going into the paint against him rather than against me. I mean, they don't have any fear going up against me, really. It's 6'1". But, I mean, you see Caesar down there, 6'5". It's huge for us, just having another big body down there.
Yeah, Anthony, I know you got some stats for us about the team as a whole, but, take us through that, and then we'll talk to Mike about, your expectations for this season going forward.
Yeah, the Pioneers have made some noise this year. We're going to look at their team stats overall to this point. They're 4-2 overall. They're 1-1 in the conference. They're averaging 74 points per game. Opponents are only scoring 69.8 points per game. Field goal percentage is about .423. 3-point percentage is about .320, and then points off turnover is roughly 18 points. Ultimately, really, really good stuff from the Pioneers. And something that I want to highlight, their 3-point defense has been awesome. Opponents are only shooting .252 from 3, which is really, really impressive. And that's why a main reason why Pioneer defense has been able to hold the opponent offense down to under 70 points a game.
Mike, my question for you regarding for that is obviously you guys are undersized generally. We've alluded to that. Is something that Coach Chapman enforces to you guys, we got to be scrappy, we got to get out, we got to run, we got to outwill people, got to out-hustle people? Because you guys got a ton of athletes on your team, so how much is that talked about in practice? Yeah,
I mean, those are his exact words, really. We got to be scrappy, we got to be willing to do the dirty work. I think NJCU, we only had 10 turnovers while we forced about, 18 or 19, which was a huge deal for us. Usually, so far this season, we've turned the ball over a decent amount, but only having 10 turnovers in a game like that is a huge deal, especially with our team being full of guards. We have to be able to take care of the ball. We have to be able to handle, and it's a difficult thing for other teams to match up against us. Just being that scrappy team, setting that identity for who we are, being scrappy, being fast, being willing to do all the dirty work that other teams don't necessarily want to do, taking charges, diving on the ball, things of that nature.
As you might obviously know you're a senior, right? And also, the other guys who are seniors as well on the team. What are the expectations, right, for the young guys, the juniors, the sophomores, even some of the freshmen who play as well? What's the message you try to give them? What do you expect out of them as well this season? The hard work they put in the off season. Getting to this point right now as the season prolongs into NJAC play.
Oh, absolutely. I think the biggest message for them is continue to grind. You may not get the results that you want in terms of playing time, in terms of shots that you put up during a game, but continue to put in the work. As freshmen, not a lot of us played. I didn't play my freshman year at all, really. I got maybe 20 minutes for the season. So, it's just a matter of keeping your foot on the gas pedal and really trying to put in the work. And being a good teammate. I think against NJCU, we played about 7 or 8 guys. And the rest of the bench, was energetic. It didn't seem like it fazed them at all, and that's a huge deal for us as a team because we get our energy not only from the crowd but from the bench, from our own teammates. So to be able to look at the bench and see that we're all energetic, see that we're all in tune with the game, and we're all actively trying to support our teammates was a huge deal for us.
With your team being so undersized, you guys always have to play with a ton of pace, and you have to be very quick. How do you guys keep composure and keep that pace up, even in times where you guys cool off a little bit?
The bench, our teammates, the bench. I know huge for me every time I go over the bench for a timeout or for whatever it is, free throw, I walk over the bench. Somebody's always talking to me, keep doing it, keep going, giving me energy, giving me reassurance that what I'm doing is working and that they need me out there as a captain, not only as a captain but as a player, to be more, assertive, to be more dominant down there. So, I think a lot of it comes from the bench as well as the coaching staff, assistant coaches. They talk to us a lot. They give us a lot of advice.
Mike, we thought the last question, we'd have a little bit of fun here, kind of put our thinking caps on. What NBA player kind of reminds us of Michael Gilmore? So, Joe, start us off.
Yeah, Michael, I really compare you to Zach Randolph, and the reason I say that is because, in Zach Randolph's career in the NBA, I think it's really, underappreciated a little bit. He's a guy, for his size, he was able to, bully people in the paint, which you do, despite the fact that you're only 6'1", you still bully guys in the paint. You're not afraid to drive in and really go up there and not fazed by guys who are 6'5", 6'4", whatever the case is. And, you're able to shoot the ball a little bit as well, from the mid-range area. And Zach Randolph was able to do the same thing when he played in the NBA. So that's the reason why I compare you to Zach Randolph. I think you just have that overall, you're like an overall player. You can drive in, you can score in the interior, you can also shoot from outside in the mid-range, and you don't let your height, phase you from anything, which I would truly like about you.
Appreciate that.
Andrew?
I got to go with Bobby Portis of the Milwaukee Bucks because he's, once again, another undersized big that plays a lot bigger than he actually is. And he can spread the floor, he can hit a three, he can get inside. And he's somebody that, just like you, is going to hustle for those loose balls, going to force turnovers, hit big shots, and hit those shots exactly when it matters.
Anthony?
I have Draymond Green. And the reason I have Draymond Green's been on the Golden State Warriors for forever, right? He's been around forever, and he is looked upon as that glue guy for the Golden State Warriors, and that's what Michael Gilmore is, right? He's been around for a while. He is the guy that really holds the team together. He keeps morale up, and you've been through the rough patches, you've been through the highs, you've been through the lows, and ultimately that really has built you up as a player. So ultimately, that's who I really see in you.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with PJ Tucker for me. You know, a smaller big man, but, you know, a big gritty guy, a big team guy. You know, seen him on the Bucks, seen him on the Heat. Like every teammate's always like, who made a difference? Who really like stuck their nose in the game that might not still up on the stat sheet, but who's like that enforcer? It's PJ Tucker. And it doesn't go unnoticed. You can spot him hit 3-point shots too. So we all noticed that. And like PJ Tucker's kind of that dog mentality that we talk about. But who's someone? Now we'll get to you. Who's someone that you model your game after?
Probably like a Lamar Odom. I really appreciated what he did on the Lakers during his time there. Just a crafty, undersized. You know, they had him at the 5 for a little bit. Undersized 5-man who was willing to do the dirty work, as well as, I mean, he could put the ball in the basket whenever he needed to, whenever his team needed him to. So yeah, definitely a Lamar Odom.
You know, definitely Lamar Odom, a great player. But Mike, from all of us here on the desk, WPTV, we really appreciate you having you on. It was a lot of fun. And we'd like to say another special thank you for Mike for taking his time out of his day to be here with us. And we'd like to say a special thank you to Matt Tadino and Heather Brocious for being so kind and allowing Michael to come on here and to communicate with us here. And another special shout out to Al Clark and the cast and crew in the studio. But for all of us here on Sports Desk, follow us at Sports Desk WP on Twitter and Instagram for updates and more. And we'll see you next time. For everyone here, I'm Jimmy Patton.